call the meeting to order. Welcome to the November 5th, 2025 meeting of the Goffstown Economic Development Council. If you could all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And also starting on the left, we can go with a roll call.
Sylvia Von Alrock here for Joanne Duffy.
Oscar Avalo, member.
Samantha Kearns, member.
Chet Bowen, Chair.
Dick Bruno, vice chair.
Charlie Birchmeyer, member.
Pete Georgiantis, Selectman's rep.
Okay. So it looks like Goffstown EDC goals are on the agenda. Has anyone taken the time to think about, given the limitations we feel we have as far as influence, et cetera, if we've thought about maybe some goals that we may want to have moving forward that are maybe within something reasonable, actually reachable?
Well, do you make them as specific as with regard to the some of those properties that we talked about that could be primary ones, that being, I'm thinking the villa property that comes to mind right away, and what's happening there? Should there be a focus on that? Well, there always seems to be a focus on the corridor, but should there be a focus on that corridor for sure? I don't know. That seems to always come up, and we don't move on with that. Maybe if we put it as one of the goals to see what we can do to help develop that area.
The area, or to specifically bring it down to the villa itself?
Yeah. Well, I guess the area which includes that villa.
Yeah. Okay. You want to look at that? Any other thoughts?
I guess my thought would be is in taking the parts of town that are already commercially developed and how, and this is a very much a long game idea, but how do we make it so that people want to go to those places? And I would say the start of that would be making them more physically appealing, or I guess aesthetically appealing, and that I think works a lot into zoning and planning. So I would say working closer with the zoning and the planning board. And I'm excited for these amendments that we're going to talk about, but I guess it would just be within warrant articles, and how do we change what the town looks like without imposing on anyone's property rights or rights to, build how they want or build what they want, but make it look more aesthetically pleasing.
So I just want to be sure I'm following you. Are we talking about the facades outside the commercially zoned business buildings, people's residential properties around it?
Not residential properties.
Okay.
It would be more on the commercial side.
Okay.
Retail, commercial?
Yeah, I mean, I think that industrial, commercial, people are going to visit a mulch place, even if it doesn't look nice, because it sells mulch and they need mulch. But people aren't going to go visit a cafe, like a coffee shop or a restaurant, if around it isn't nice, isn't cute.
Okay, so like the commercial curbside appeal.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I think we can look at that too. There was a Pete. Do you remember I don't know if it still exists anymore. Was it 97E? But it was
79E?
Thank you. I knew I had it wrong. 79E, where we had done a little bit of that in the past.
Well, we did it over at, we did it over here by the bridge. We did it across the street at the pizza place.
Mm-hmm.
We did it at Tonic.
What
Yep.
is 7090?
So it was, and it's a tax incentive
Tax-
basically.
It's
to-
a TIF.
It's a
isn't it?
tax incentive type thing. If you did some improvements to your building, your taxes wouldn't go up for a certain amount of years.
Okay.
So if you wouldn't be taxed on the improvements. I'm sure you're familiar with that. So if you put, fixed your place up and you spent $50,000 on it, that $50,000 wouldn't be taxed for a certain amount of years. There's usually two plans, either a 5 or a 7.
Okay.
We've always used the 5-year plan. So for 5 years, your taxes are frozen on that piece that you've repaired or you've done.
And I guess it would be within that, causing it to look a certain, I guess, similar to what a historic district does, where you can't, in a historic district, you can't suddenly decide to paint your house bright yellow, right? Because, the town wants it to look a certain way, and that includes not making it, safety yellow. And so, thinking about what we want, I guess specifically with the Pinardville corridor to look like, and incentivizing businesses to make it look that way, so that more people come to there.
Can you pick out something specific in the Pinardville corridor that you'd be talking about?
I guess, the Shaw's Plaza and that surrounding area is, St. Anselm's College is right there, right? The college students don't go to that Pinardville area, they go to Elm Street in Manchester, because Elm Street is more aesthetically pleasing than the Shaw's Plaza area. They would rather go to Margaritas on Elm Street than Lavaca. That's not to say, I'm sure Lavaca is doing great business, I know they're doing well. The inside of Lavaca is beautiful, the outside of Lavaca is not. And that's not Lavaca's fault, like they can't change the outside of their building because they don't own it.
I don't think it's a fair comparison, though. I mean, you're talking about the city, Manchester. College students want to go, there's a lot more action downtown for sure, compared to coming to, basically a strip mall. And I get it, if there was some other businesses that would be attractive, but it's not as though they're going to be going and just cruising, and I don't want to use the word
Yeah.
cruising, but there's just no, I don't think there's enough that could.
There's 3 bars on that street within walking distance,
What street?
on Mass Road,
Uh-huh.
right? There's 2 Chinese restaurants, which are bars, and there's Lavaca, they're restaurant bars, right? There's also a brewery. That is all a draw to college students. I realize it does not have the same appeal as Elm Street, for sure, but there are benefits, such as parking, such as being way closer for an Uber ride to the college and back, which makes it cheaper. I'm sure that the drinks are probably cheaper at those places than they are in Manchester. I think that the businesses are doing everything they can, but you want to take a picture in front of the mural in Manchester, you don't want to take a picture in front of the sad concrete wall in Goffstown.
Yeah, these are private businesses. We can certainly enhance some of those programs that might be tax incentive programs to improve the property, but I think business people are gonna have to take it on themselves. That's what chambers of commerce do. That's what Main Street should be doing as well, is to get the group together. I know there's been many different efforts to get more of like a chamber of commerce in town over the years. That's where the ideas get excited. You say, yeah, we could do that. We could attract people. Maybe we put out a brochure that we distribute to St. Anselm. I don't think that's on the the realm of economic development from where I sit. I might be disagreeing with y'all, but I think we're here for, I guess the word is the macro, the big picture. You know, it's number one, we want to attract businesses, for sure. First of all, you gotta get the businesses. We look at that Shaw's Plaza, for instance, what do we have? I mean, we've got a couple of pad sites, we've talked about those on several occasions, and what do we, can we help attracting businesses to go in there and invest? These people want to invest.
But they can only invest on the interior of their business. They can't
Well,
change the outside of that building, and the landlord's gonna get paid either way. Whether your business does well or not, he's still renting the site, he gets paid. He is not incentivized to make that building attractive.
It could be. So, because I hear your point. If you're a business owner and you're looking to bring your business to town, you're going to look at what I would look at as a customer base first. So, to your point, if we could make it more attractive to a larger customer base, and you're a business person coming in, I can see that maybe you'd look to the landlord, and maybe, just maybe, be like, hey, if you can make this look better, you might attract some more businesses. First of all, it's more tenants for you. That there is incentive for it there, right?
Yeah.
And then more businesses come in. So I think that's worthy of at least an initial reach out to the owners and see if they'd even be willing to engage with us and maybe come in and have a conversation about that. Educate them on 79E? No? Why
That's
not?
not the problem. The problem isn't what the building looks like. The problem is what the owners of the businesses want to do. Try to get North Garden to stay open past 10 o'clock at night. Try to get, Friday night, Mountain Base Brewery, 9:30, he wants to be out of there. I'm just saying, those people have, and I worked at, you know how I was at North Garden, and we did everything to try to get St. A's kids to come down. They have their own pub up there, so if they're just gonna drink beer and wine, they can drink up there and stay right on campus. Right? They go down to Elm Street and they have numerous places they can pop into and have a cocktail and party with, We don't have that atmosphere in Penard.
And don't they have I think they have transportation to bring the kids down to Elm Street too, don't
Most
they?
of them Uber.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah, and it's, $10 to Uber,
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
from St.
right.
A's down to Elm
But
Street,
Yeah, 4 kids split it and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's in Elm Street, there's music, there's dancing, it's not just, like go sit in a
Right, but
towny Chinese restaurant or.
all of those things are able to be, like, that is the job of a business owner to create, right? So if Mountain Base Brewery wanted to have live music in there, they could. I'm sure they've done it in the past, right? I know they've had trivia nights. Like you said, North Garden
Karaoke.
has had karaoke, all of that. But I think it being aesthetically pleasing invites more people in. And maybe that's maybe we're seeing this from a different gendered perspective, but people don't want to go somewhere that isn't attractive. They want to go somewhere that's cute.
I don't know, in college, it's more about, like you said, 9:30, they're still there. They're still there in dorm rooms for pre-gaming. And in college, we didn't go to a bar till 10 o'clock at the earliest. 10 to 1, you're at the bar. There's nothing open in Bernardville from 10 to 1.
Oh.
Hit last call at
And
North Garden, that's it.
You go down to Grand Slam, 10 o'clock, and they're open till 1,
Yeah.
and the place is busy.
Yeah.
But that's, what I'm trying to say is that that's a business decision that they're making their money at this particular amount of time, enough to get by, and they're happy with it. If they thought there was a chance to do that, I don't think putting 79E or having somebody say, okay, I'm gonna put a $50,000 facade on the front of my building is gonna attract the St. A's kids, then it's not gonna happen.
Not if you close at 9.
No.
No, right.
Right, but wouldn't it, I think consistently the roadblocks that we're faced with every single task that we've ever talked about is who's gonna blink first, right? Is the Villa Augustina going to pay to get gas extended to their place? Well, they're not gonna pay for it, the gas company isn't gonna pay for it, the town's not gonna pay for it. Well, somebody has to pay for it to happen. And so who is more likely to pay for a facade on the front of a building? Not the town, not the individual business owner, it's the owner of the business. And they're not gonna do it unless there's an incentive for them to do it. And the only incentive that we can offer them would be a tax discount.
Which we do, which is there. 79E is a tax incentive to do it.
Right, but I just thought that Chet suggested that and you shook your head no.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, for North Garden, Watoy, Mountain-Based Brewery, to try to do, Mountain-Based Brewery is a different situation, because they're in a complex, they're in a, you know.
Right, and I
Same
think
thing
that
with
complex
Lavaca.
is,
Lavacca's made a nice job, the front of their
Yeah,
building looks really nice. So they've done some stuff, but you take the North Garden and the Watoy, they're not gonna spend, the Watoy, I don't know what they would spend the money on, there's no room there anyway. I don't know how much money they would spend in hopes of attracting some business that they haven't been able to attract. But there is a tax incentive, and I've always signed up on those, and whatever. Hey, somebody wants to go fix up their building and put some money into it and look for a little bit of tax incentive, I have never had a problem. Has to go through the board. Selectmen have to approve it, but yeah, it's,
even if we ignore Watoy North Garden and we just look at that one Shaw's Plaza complex, which I think is honestly a diamond in the rough. It is something that just needs to be created. We can look at the area on South River Road in Bedford as a great example, where that Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Sephora, that REI, Friendly Toast, it has exploded. And that space is not easy to get in and out of. It is a terrible parking lot. They created a little business hub there out of what was the old Bedford Mall. Right? Like, you remember the Bedford Mall, it was terrible.
part of it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, believe me, I think it's worthy discussion, but again, I have to always go back to the difference between Bedford, the crossroads of three major highways, traffic that's north, south, east, and west, does not happen in Goffstown. And in order to attract them to that mall, you would have to have a group and/or a property owner willing to get up there and say, listen, this is the way, this is the dream for this property. This is how we can attract, but it's gotta be a group effort. I just don't, I think, in Bedford, it's organic. It's because they see so much, there's so much traffic, so many cars. That's why you can't get in and out of those shops. It's because there's a lot of cars traveling in, because there's a lot of business.
And I would say that we are missing out on all the traffic from New Boston and Ware that drives on this road every single day. That drives on this road at 45 miles an hour through Main Street because they're like, I just want to get home. And we need to create the third place for them, right? The coffee shop, the place you stop for dinner, whatever. And that can be created in that Shaw's Plaza. And that Shaw's Plaza can be businesses on the first floor, apartments on the second floor, where you have nurses who work at CMC that have affordable housing that can you imagine a nurse from CMC living in where the Shaw's Plaza is and getting to commute to CMC every single day? It would be a gold mine. They would pay $2,500 to live there because it would be so close to their work. And then I'm gonna go have like a little Mexican restaurant. Oh, I'm gonna go have like a little coffee at the coffee shop. I'm gonna go walk on the rail trail. You know, like, that's incredible.
And
Even
that's a
like
great-
even the Mills, right? That housing development, the Mills, created a boom for this downtown area, and I think that can be created in that Shaw's Plaza.
And that's a great, no, I don't disagree, it's a great vision for that, but it has to start with the property owner or those people that want to invest in
Be the
that
developer.
plaza. Yeah, we could, from our perspective, for what this board could do, yeah, we could bring people in or get to them and say, listen, we'd like to see the vision that we'd like to see it, where can it start?
Right.
Where could, Or are there investors that are somewhere out there that don't know a lot about that plaza in Goffstown? And I think it's our job to say, look this is traffic counts. This is number of people, new residents that are moving in. These are the new complexes. A lot of people don't know that. And that probably is where we can help and we can start to attract people that want to invest in
Yeah.
those properties.
I mean, I think it is an incredible long game,
Oh, yeah,
right?
no,
But I think it also starts with what we want that building to, what we want that space to look like as a town. And I guess maybe I have an idea and other people have a different idea, right? Like some people love gray siding. I'm a big fan of brick face, right? I think the gray siding is ugly. But I think it starts with what it looks like and then incentivizing the current property owner who already owns it, who wants to make more money. We already know the traffic counts in that space, you know?
It's not as much as you think. 114, a lot of the people peel off and go to 114, you know, and if you sit there at the light, you'll see it, they just, you know.
Yeah.
So they're actually trying to avoid, in a lot of cases, going down through Pinnacle, because now we keep adding more lights and more lights
Yeah.
as we go
Yeah.
along. But it's not, the traffic count is not there as great as you think. Now, that's become the coffee shop of Goffstown, because now we just have a new coffee shop opening up where,
Oh,
White Birch?
Where the White Birch?
Yeah, whole-
Yeah,
yeah.
White Birch
Hometown
now.
Roasters.
Coffee, the
that's gonna be a
roasters.
coffee roasting place,
Yeah.
right? The old Rhymes building, that's gonna be a coffee shop.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be an
Aroma Joe's.
Oh, Roman Joe's,
That's gonna be
okay.
Aroma Joe's, so now, in a stretch of a mile, you're gonna have 4 coffee shops.
Coffee. Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
So, I understand what you're saying, all right, but you have to have investors to do that. You have to attract somebody to do that. That's a huge project, millions and millions of dollars. That owner is absentee, not on site of that property. It's hard to deal with them, 'cause I tried to deal with them. And, you know, I just,
Like you said before, he's probably content with what he has, because I don't see him
Right,
really
because he's
pushing.
getting paid,
Oh,
he has, all of those buildings are rented out.
oh, not all of them.
Not all of them. I mean, we're
Big
talking-
lots are still empty.
Yeah, and those pad sites are available. That could be a revenue producer for him too. It just doesn't seem like he's, you know, an active, he's happy where he is. Now, yeah, you could take somebody like, let's say a Brady Sullivan. Would they be interested in developing that whole area?
Hold on,
they
I
seem to
wanted,
do
you were
that.
raising your hand, I want to go over to you.
Go ahead.
So I love Samantha's vision of something where you're creating like a destination. That's what you're basically talking about, is you want to attract those people like me who are gonna leave here and go up 114. Instead of going right, well, I'm going all the way to Newmarket, but I would go straight and go to Pinardville because there's gonna be something really cute or whatever. But you have a vision. But I also respect what Pete and Dick are saying, that, well, you need those anchor stores, those anchor places that want to work with you. So I'm gonna suggest this. Leavenworth, Washington. They were just like Pinardville. They were just another town, just another little commercial strip. But they got together, they had some anchor stores, and they got together and said, we're gonna make this a destination. So what did they do? Then it all looks like Germany. So like Bavaria, they're in the middle of the mountains, and they decided to work with property owners. And so it was a whole, and it took time. It was the long game. But I've been there now, like 15, 20 years ago. And at that time, you could go there and it looked like you were driving into Europe, into Bavaria. And the zoning made it. They changed their zoning so that anything new that the property owners had to build according to very specific design criteria so that it looked like it was out of Bavaria. You could do the same thing, but you could do it French or whatever you wanted. You need that vision, but what you need to have is the business owner buy-in. You need those anchor places that say, that agree with you. We want to make this a destination. We want to do something different so that people drive here, so the kids from St. Anselm come here. And then you start attracting this, but it would be a really, you'd need the vision, you'd need anchor stores, and you'd need property owners to agree and to like work with this group to say, I can envision it, Little Montreal, or I'm just thinking because of the French heritage in the area, but it could be something. It would just be, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that involves, and it's planning, I mean, it's really involves planning, so it's gotta be a cooperative effort between, you know,
Yeah.
certainly we can get the ball rolling, I'm sure, but the planning board, there's all of those things that, you know, the specifics of what you have to do to build in that area.
Yeah,
Or
you'd
what
want
the- Or
businesses.
what the concept, what is the concept going to be?
Exactly.
I mean, they,
We had an anchor store there that pulled out. If you remember that. There was an anchor store there that pulled out. Do you all remember that?
Are
do you wanna,
How far are you
What's
going?
it called? What's that plaza
the
called?
plaza's called the Shaw's Plaza.
Shaw's.
Shaw's used to be there. That was an
Right.
anchor store there.
Yeah.
And when Market Basket went in, Bedford, and with Hannaford down the street, that didn't work.
Mhm.
So you'd have to find, and other people have looked at it, and it just didn't fit their bill. You know, the guy that owns that property also owns that little gym thing that's there.
Oh, he does, okay.
Yeah, he owns that. That's one of his
That's
deals.
his business.
Yeah. So,
So I think the original question was goals, and from both of you, actually, the one thing I heard that's a common theme is that we're going big with these goals that we have here. You're talking like, should we bring it down to this one place, or you're talking about one plaza? So I think we can talk more about that as far as, we have to set our goals in January, I believe, so we can talk a little bit more about more specific areas that we can focus on. Pete is right, absentee owner, it doesn't mean we don't approach him another time, and I think you're correct too, that we get the ball rolling, but that's about as, then we have to figure out the rest of the plan and try
well,
to help
maybe,
it along.
maybe make it a TIF district there or something
Yeah.
like that.
Or we find an owner who is more involved, right? Like we approach Brady Sullivan and we say, hey, would you guys be interested in negotiating with this absentee owner to see if you wanna buy this space to turn it into something?
Be careful what you ask for, because right now.
Just using them as an
Yeah,
example.
right now, okay, they can take that property and put condos, apartments, whatever they want with the new zoning.
Right,
And that was a plan, I don't know if you were around for Plan Penonville, you remember Plan Penonville? You guys
Mhm.
probably don't remember. That turned into a huge battle, because that was a talk about putting apartments there. The people were in an uprising in Penonville, it was unbelievable. So, some of the things you talk about doing, you have to be careful, because that's already done it and they came back. The way the zoning with the new law and the state did, that they can take that complex and make it all condos or apartments.
I think that
And that wouldn't be what we want, we're not
Right.
looking for that.
I think that there is, I think that when we look at even Tuscan Village in Salem, which has apartments in it, and we look at the
That's a
idea,
huge complex there, though, that's,
the idea of a Somersworth triple decker that has a bodega on the bottom and 2 apartments on top is doable and is better than 3 apartments, right?
oh, I'm not disagreeing.
And so, but I think that there's nothing wrong with including apartments. And I don't know about Plan Bernardville, but I think a 15-minute walkable city is a good thing. And maybe it's not the most ideal situation, but I don't think that we're gonna have a bunch of single families in that space if you make them 1-bedroom apartments. If you make them 1-bedroom apartments, you're not gonna get parents with kids. You're gonna get individuals or couples.
Okay. You have your vision, and I'm not,
I think it's worth a discussion going forward as we think about our goals, like what are we trying to do so that, we all can agree, we go off the rails all the time, right? We start with one thing and next thing you know, we're 15 feet down on the left. What I'd like to do is think about goals that are very, very manageable. So when you say just that one space, it's a great concept, or you say just the villa, it's a great concept. So maybe continue down that path, thinking about setting a goal come January. I think that makes sense.
Well, are we meeting again in December?
We haven't discussed that yet. I don't even know what the date would be. December. What would the December date be? First Wednesday?
My phone.
I guess if we're not meeting in December, then we have to set this goal now.
We set it in January, but yes, we have
You
to.
do your goals in January, first of the year, you start, actually, normally you wait till the new group comes in March. but,
Third. All right.
Whoever.
December 3rd.
There'll be it.
Yeah, so I think we usually meet in December. I think we typically take off July. So no, I'm thinking about just making it smaller than what we have here and maybe manageable and something we can focus on. I think would be something to look at. Would we all agree on that? Okay.
And the other, I think Peter's suggestion too, of bringing up the TIF district, how many people really do know that that tool is available for business people? A way to broadcast that to current owners and or potential owners of businesses or properties.
So have you had any experience with TIF districts?
A little.
Huh?
A little.
A little?
Could we recommend to the select board the purchase of a city planner, like a city consult?
We can.
City consultant?
I've talked about a EDC full-time person. I think we were shut down pretty fast on that.
It's not in the sense of someone's like full-time job. It's just a,
Consultant?
Oh, a consultant?
yeah, it's a consultant of somebody who says, all right, you want to attract businesses in your town. This is what the trend for businesses is going to be for the next 30 years. There's somebody who knows that. There's somebody with a civil engineering degree that knows, because I think that that's what we are trying to do on a volunteer basis, where none of us have, I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone, where I certainly don't have the degree to do that, you know, and I have an idea in my head and I have a poor way to execute it, but there's somebody who makes their money executing that job.
I think we can. So what we would have to do, we can't just I think you know this, but we can't just throw this idea to the select board. We have to give them, this is who we think it should be. These are the other people we looked at. This is our price point. This is the goal. And I think that's definitely something we should talk about month to month here to actually get something done. Because it still helps us, because I was going full-time EDC person, because in between these meetings, we have these great ideas and then it goes nowhere. So I think that's an excellent thing to put as one of our goals, to find out who that person could be and do an actual study, get the prices. So we give the select board something, we're ready to answer all their questions, and we already know what the price is gonna be and what we're expecting as the outcome. That's typically what I would want there. Pete, I think you, whether you say yes or no, you'd want the information. You wouldn't want us to just say, hey, we think we should do this, right?
Okay.
Wait, no, how are you not,
So
how are you not
how does
understanding what I'm
the
saying?
select board-
I would not commit to hiring somebody for that position. Let's put it
Right,
like that.
you
We're
wouldn't
talking-
vote for it.
Right.
But what I'm saying is if we're gonna send it forward, you want the information, all of it, as far as what we expect, the price points, all that, rather than just us saying we think we should do this.
And where are you gonna look at? The whole town in general, or you're gonna specific, there's a myriad of questions I would have.
Yeah,
You know, and what's your plan? You take that architect's drawing or vision, and you go to a developer and say, hey, what do you think of this? Is that what you would do?
You know, one thing you could do, I'm sorry,
go ahead.
A couple things. One, I mean, new staff is really difficult for a community, I think, first of all. So what can you do in the realm of low-key, which might be like a Plan New Hampshire charrette? It's something you can apply for, and it's an application, and that is free. I don't know if there's some kind of, I can check into that to see if there's a minimal fee, like a couple $1,000s. The other thing is you could think, and then, like, for example, if you went down that road, let's continue that road for a second. Has anyone done a Plan New Hampshire charrette?
No.
It's excellent. They just recently did one this past year. We were involved with one in Manchester. But communities can apply, and you have a focused area, let's say in this case, Bernardville, and you can say, here's the corridor, or you can narrow it down, your corridor, and say, we want a beautification plan, we want some plan to bring to business owners so that they have a vision.
That was planned,
Isn't
that
that
was
planned
planned
Bonneville,
Bonneville,
right?
that was planned
Yeah.
Bonneville, that's how
So
it
it
was
would
done.
be updated, although I thought Planned Bernardville was cost money. I thought that you had
I think,
budget for
I
that.
thought it was a charrette, I was just looking from the outside, but I thought it was a charrette. And doesn't Southern Hampshire Planning help us with those sorts of things if we want to get into, without, I'm thinking about, rather than consultants, I thought that's the kind of services that we could get from Southern New Hampshire Planning.
There would be a fee, that we would have to create a contract, just like anything. Let's say this group said, we want this corridor plan, we want a beautification plan, and we want to spend, let's just throw out an idea, $25,000. We would be one of the bidders if we thought that was something we could do.
Oh.
But the charrette, it's a very specific, it's usually a 2-day event. You invite business owners, the whole thing. So those are two different ways you can go.
Is that like applying for a grant? Is that
Yes,
the way it
basically,
works?
yes.
Aren't we kind of going down the same road with what we tried to do with the UNH co-op and the survey and?
Absolutely, we're doing that, yes.
Okay.
So,
Because when we did that, we did bring in somebody from outside, and that was kind of what we started with, was, okay, let's go out and talk to all these business owners. Sarah had really spearheaded the whole beautification of Bernardville, and our roadblock was the business owners didn't want to participate. We weren't getting any sort of useful feedback because everybody was just kind of, we're trying to stay afloat, we're trying to do
It's
what
trying
we
to
can do,
survive,
and
right?
and to take on anything else is like I feel like we're just running right back into the circle.
could be. So I think that you're right. What I keep coming back to is we try to do things in an aggregate way, and it just bites us every time. So maybe it's find one business owner willing to engage with us and try to figure out if we can get someone to listen to the 79E thing, and then show over the course of a year, what they're able to do, and maybe say, find another business owner who might be more willing to talk to us at that point. 'Cause I don't know, because you're right. I don't know how
And
we
we
get
had the
business owners
business
to
owner
engage
that
us.
was
We
fully
tried.
on board.
Mm-hmm. With that one?
I mean, Sarah was super,
Oh,
super
yes.
involved,
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
she would
Absolutely.
talk to all these other business owners, and she was, and
Yeah, she had a lot of enthusiasm, that's for sure.
How does this group go about marketing Rite Aid's building?
Yep, so
How did that
typically,
happen?
what we would do is we would submit something to Joanne to bring up for approval to do some sort of social media, like, hey, this is open, we're open for business here. I think that there is a list of retail spaces that are open on our website. You can find it at EDC. As far as getting out there, though, really getting out there, not a lot, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying, how do we as a group, not just this group, but as town as a group, get that message out there besides social media? And you have to depend on realtors who are marketing things. But there's a large building there.
Right, so that, do you target that and maybe while they're looking for the next tenant, get the ideas from the realtor or the property owner? Does Rite Aid own that
I have
property,
no
do you know?
idea, I know there was something about the one in Manchester on Elm Street, they're painting it now a different color, and they're doing some kind of construction in there, so
But if
I don't
we-
know who's
yeah.
moving in.
Yeah, if we were on the ground floor of something like that, when it's changing ownership, and then to say, or get with the realtor and say, do
And maybe
you
find
know
out
what's available? Asking the realtor, do you know what's available from the town that could help a potential tenant?
Make sure the realtor knows that there's 70-90 money if somebody
Exactly.
wanted to do some
Exactly.
improvements to the looks of the building, that may entice somebody else to
Right.
jump on board and say, well, I don't wanna put, $100,000 in the front of this thing, and then, so.
Right.
I don't know if that's how you go about that. Talk to Boschman, I guess.
Well, I mean, some of the national corporations have put money, I mean, Starbucks built that building there, which surprised me, and they must see that there's enough traffic for them to.
It's Starbucks.
Yeah, I get it, I mean, the same way as Dunkin' Donuts, you know, the same way, there's one every 500 feet it seems, but, although there's not one in the center of town, used to be.
There was
But-
talk, there was talk.
I know, but I don't think they.
She
have
wants
fun.
too much money for the property, so.
I just wanna bring it back, like,
Sure.
to, to that goal that we have, like, is the goal going to be like helping a more of a retail business or not a retail business? Like the Villa Augustina isn't like so much of like a retail business. Like,
Well, you don't, I mean, you don't know what it can be, I mean, that's the question.
well, no, but there's a tenant there. They make stuff for NASA.
No, I don't think there's anybody making anything.
No, they're not using that building.
Right, but they
But they own it.
they own it.
Yeah, but they're not using it
The
because
question is
they
why?
can't.
Right, because they don't have natural gas. And so is the goal to try to get natural gas to the Villa Augustina so that they start making something there?
Not necessarily, I'd really like to be able to talk to the owner to say, what is the future of that building? Is there, you know, had they made attempts to sell it?
No, I mean,
Maybe they said, you know, this place is never gonna have natural gas, we wanna sell it, so what's your
Somebody's been
vision?
working in there lately.
no, the future of that building is that those people said, oh, this town has natural gas. They are going to eventually extend it out past here. We use natural gas. We are gonna wait until they extend it out past to us, and then we will get natural gas, and then they will start using that building. They bought that building cheap, relatively cheap, right? Because if they waited until natural gas got to that space, it would have become more expensive. And that's why they're sitting on that property, not really doing anything. Because whatever it costs them in taxes and whatever, they're gonna wait so long until the town is like, we're never moving the natural gas line, which probably won't happen. Eventually, we will start to extend natural gas down Mass Road.
Were you here when the guy came in?
No, I wasn't here when he came back. What
Oh.
was his report to us? Well,
Basically.
he's here when he originally came in, but then he said that he was gonna do a cost analysis.
Mhm.
So did he get back to us on that?
I do not believe so, but what we did decide, or what he suggested was that we do, I think it's always gonna be our goal to extend natural gas sewer if we can. I think we always are gonna be proponents for that. So it's really start very, very slow, like go over to the Ford dealership and do slow, cost-effective ways, and eventually it would get down there.
Right.
That's kind of what I think, that still needs to be within our goals, I think, for sure. But why the question about whether it's retail or industrial? Who, did you ask that?
I
Who asked
did,
that?
well, because I'm just wondering, like, if, what we're focusing on.
Any business that contributes to the tax base, I think, is what we focus on. So I don't know that it's gotta be
There's
one
the
or the
point
other.
which is hit, okay, is we've been talking about businesses that are already there,
Mhm,
okay? That doesn't accomplish what you're talking about,
mhm.
is an increase in the tax base. Increase the tax base, you gotta move into different areas
Mhm.
that can expand the end of Plummer Road, as we've talked. They need sewer up there,
Mhm.
and natural gas. The other side, St. A's owns all that property over there. They're looking for, they would like that, they got sewer up on St. A's, but no natural gas, they have to run the sewer down there. That would be a pump station with water, there's lots of things, but in order to increase your tax base, you need to develop new retail commercial properties, not fix up the old ones.
I think that's very fair, because like, if the tax base is our only goal, which it kinda is, they're already paying into it, you know, for owning that building and doing nothing with it. So I can see that, but I do think expanding natural gas sewer should always be a part of what our goal is, whenever that opportunity arises. So I think that's one that I think we can lock in stone as a goal.
Okay, so,
Um,
what if we kind of like loose goals? What are our loose goals?
All of the ones you see here that do not really, I mean, not all of them, a couple of them we've already tried. But in general, I think the loose goal is increase the tax base through new businesses. And I think supporting the ones that are here when we can, if they are in trouble or something.
Maintaining the existing
Yeah.
businesses.
Yeah.
Well, no, but we said a goal is like expanding water, sewer, gas.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of a city planner. I know Peter doesn't, but that's fine. what did we have as another, we have said other stuff, like focusing on the villa.
Oh, today we said that, yeah. Are you talking
Yeah.
about today?
Yeah.
And then you
just-
said the,
And then I said focusing on Shaw's Plaza.
mhm.
I think the challenge with pinpointing a singular business is our goal, right? Focus on the Shaw's Plaza. If we reach out to them and they say, no, like,
Yeah.
all right,
We're
we're done
stuck
for the
next
year.
month.
Next,
Yeah.
next.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's gotta be a little more broad than
Yeah,
that.
I think that's it, it's broad, I think we've talked about it several times, that we're trying to expand tax base, and wherever that's gonna be is where, it should be our primary goal, right at the
Yeah,
top.
but we severely lack strategy.
Oh, no,
and
I get it, but that should start with that.
Yeah.
Then where do you go? Because under that is infrastructure,
Mhm.
which is the gas lines, which are the sewers.
So I don't understand what a city planner would do. We already know what we need. We've already.
But we have
been
no
told-
idea how to execute it.
Well, we had we had natural gas in here, right?
Right.
He said it's $1 million a mile, and
Mhm.
there wasn't enough to generate that. How is the city planner gonna change that number? Sewer department, sewer people can come in here, they're part of the town. They don't wanna spend the money to go up the Daniel Plummer Road. How's the city planner gonna change that? How is the city planner gonna expand the amount of buildings that we're collecting taxes on now at Shaw's Plaza?
They might have a different way of thinking, like, we're, part of the thing here is we're all, probably don't have the experience of what one of those persons can do, and a consultant is gonna see something different than we will.
Consultant, yes, but that city planner isn't that.
If we are deciding that like we're gonna bring in, the sewer department and the gas department and the water team and they're gonna be like, yeah, we're not gonna do it, then why are we even here? Like they just said no, so oh sorry, no, like we're gonna go talk to Shaw's Plaza and then the folks that own that and be like, hey, do you guys wanna improve that building? If they say no, like the next thing we do is we find another investor who's willing to purchase that space, who's willing to revitalize it for us. Like we don't stop at the first roadblock.
Understand?
So I mean, I think that there's value to asking a city planner of like what is the best way to make it so that this downtown isn't hideous?
If you, let's say the town was to run natural gas up to the high school, right? Town pays for it.
Mm-hmm.
What is the increase in tax base?
I mean,
Depends on what businesses go in there.
Yeah, so if we create if that leads us to having a bunch of pad sites, essentially,
Where?
then it could all the way down. All the way
if,
down
are
that.
you telling me right now that if a business came in and said, we will pay $40 million for that little league field, that the town wouldn't sell it?
Doesn't belong to the
It
town.
doesn't belong to them.
But I'm using it as an example. There's pieces of land along there that some business owner that a business could say, hey, we really want natural gas.
Where?
I think you're saying if there was natural gas along that main artery,
Yeah.
then that would attract those people who would say, I'd like to invest in that land. Is that what you're saying? The question is, which comes first?
If Burger King said, we want to buy where the Parks and Rec building is because you've got natural gas, water, and sewer there, and we're going to pay the town of Goffstown $50 million to do it. You're telling me the select board wouldn't consider that at all?
I don't know. That's something that,
It's an
Would-
extreme
would-
hypothetical, but what I'm saying is that we can't
would
even
that be a
reach
place,
that.
would that be a place that the town would want a Burger King?
And it's just an example, right? So the original question was the goals, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, just looking up the definition, right? A specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound, right? SMART. I don't know if any of those that we have here are that. And I personally have not taken the time to look at what we should do, but I think there's a lot of ideas, especially, you've got ideas. I think we start to look at that and come ready for the next one. with
Okay,
that
yeah,
kind of-
that makes sense. And
And one of the things could be, what Sylvia talked about was a charrette. Maybe we want to
shoot
for
another shot.
something like that.
That way we can accomplish it and
Yeah.
it's an actual goal that we do, right?
Mhm.
And then if that leads to, grander visions, great,
It's the truth. All we can do is approximations. We're a very small, powerless council. So even the idea to approach Ford and say, would you want natural gas over here and just pay to get it this far? And then maybe if we ever do get a new police station, maybe that's part of an expansion there, just slowly but surely. Like you said, it's the long game, right? So
Yeah.
maybe that's
I
something
mean,
that
it's
we
an
look at.
extreme long game, right?
Yep.
Like, I think about the city of Portsmouth in the 90s was full of bikers and nobody wanted to go there. And a 3-bedroom apartment was $800 and nobody wanted to live in Portsmouth and it was gross. And now condos are $1 million. A 2-bedroom condo in Portsmouth is $1 million. And there is no reason that Goffstown can't do that.
Maybe it's slow, long game, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
think
it took the city of Portsmouth 30 years for that to happen.
So I think we have a couple of ideas, and to move along, come back maybe next month with something more concrete. I think that would make sense. We are going to meet. I don't know why we wouldn't meet December 3rd. Is there any reason why we wouldn't? Did anyone think of? Okay. So the next piece that we had was the zoning amendments and the review of that. I think we already sort of mentioned it with the retail space.
Yep.
So I put together a letter to review that we possibly can submit tomorrow to the planning board. I want to be really clear, I have no pride of authorship, so if you think that something should be changed, a phrase, whatever, I'm cool with it. This was really just to start the conversation and review it.
So run this by Derek, no?
I-
Send him a copy?
Yes, well, I sent Patty a copy as a draft, and that was after talking to Derek about sending Patty a copy as a draft, so,
Okay.
yeah.
We haven't seen it yet, so.
It was sent out email today, I believe.
Yeah, I'm just saying, the select board as a board
Oh,
has not seen it.
yes, you have not seen it yet. It's in draft form right now for us to review first.
But this was meant for this working session,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay, because I looked at it and I thought it hit on all the notes that we want to express to to the people that are working on that, especially as it pertains to gobbling up commercial space for residential.
Yeah.
That's the danger, that law is, we're challenged with that law now. So,
I don't know where planning is leading, but the fact they're having the workshop tells me that they're open to this idea, that they can still hold this as a piece, that's one of the few things they
Yeah,
can
there's
still do.
been some talk about the selectmen's rep over there and talking about trying to put something together, get on the ballot.
Mhm. Okay,
But he's trying to make it so it's not a bunch of different questions, like maybe one or two main questions. So you have too many on there, people just get,
are you saying pertaining to the new law?
yes, and what we could do here at the local level to make it feel better.
yeah, that's a technical term, yes.
If the group looks at this document, which is the full language of the proposed amendments, and you turn to the second page, number 4 is the one that I think this group is most concerned with, and that's number 4 there. And this is exactly pretty much the language that we talked about. And so there's 2 sections here where amending section 3.11, the table of uses, where you would be, and this is part of the requirement, adding multifamily dwelling as a permitted use within the commercial C zone, and with the condition, and this is where communities have the allowance to do this, but the condition reads that they may be permitted on commercially zoned land, provided that adequate infrastructure for roads, water, and sewer systems are available to support the development, and that the ground floor shall be wholly dedicated to retail or similar use, except where a conditional use permit has been granted by the planning board. And then you can see section 4.4.4 is the section where it would also be reading, and that's same language is in the second document that you also have, which is how it would look in the zoning regs.
I see.
So you have both of those things.
How does that correspond with the state's regulation?
The only difference is that in this case, Goffstown would make it part of the requirement with the adequate infrastructure. It's an allowance. You are allowed to add that as a caveat.
Okay, but how about mandatory retail, first floor? Is that part of the state?
It's a state allowance. So
But is
the
it mandatory that
mandatory part is that you have to allow multifamily in a commercial zone. That's the requirement.
okay, but Goffstown decided to put the caveat in there that the first floor had to be a retail.
That's the allowance that this,
Does the state does allow us to do that?
yes,
Okay, that's my question.
yes. If you look up House Bill 631 and you get all involved in it, those are two allowances. The first floor commercial and the requirement for adequate infrastructure.
Question. So has this already been, like, has the planning board drafted this and they're gonna talk about it?
They talk about it tomorrow, at tomorrow's planning board work session.
Who created this?
Joanne had initially done this, and then I helped package it.
Okay. I guess my thought would be the way that I want the sewer and the gas to not have to, like we've said before, they're not gonna blink and make more sewer and gas, right? I want businesses to pay more in road, water, and sewer up front before they build, so that we have more money in that fund.
They pay impact fees anyway. Anytime they're gonna do a new building, they're gonna pay an impact fee. And that goes to exactly what you're saying.
Well, this is
Everybody, anytime you
saying,
build something, there's an impact fee.
Right.
it's very.
I guess my thought is like in the word adequate infrastructure for roads, water, and sewer. Like, I want more than adequate.
Okay,
And I don't know how
What's
to.
more than adequate?
I don't know how to put that into
Well,
words.
adequate relates to the type of development that's gonna be built. I think that's the determination of the planning board to accept the plan. If somebody came in with a plan, they would make that determination. What is adequate in a development, mixed-use development? And it has to meet those conditions. And that's when the decision is made, at the planning board. Because they can look at this and say, you know, you haven't met the conditions
Okay.
for mixed-use development. Because adequate is, it's
Like, for
in the eyes of
example.
the beholder in a
Well,
way,
right, so like,
but-
for example, if someone wanted to build a mixed-use space where the old Pizza Hut used to be, right? To be adequate, we would say, you have to pave that parking lot. Right? Just as like an example.
Yeah, sometimes they do something like that, or
Yeah.
add a turning lane, something like that.
Just to,
basic things.
I mean, I guess, just to be like, we'd be like, yeah, we'd be like, you have to pave that parking lot. I want them to pave that parking lot and then also contribute some money to paving that road space ahead of time.
You listen to
That's-
what I said?
yeah.
Every time they do that, there's an impact fee, and that's exactly what it goes to.
Okay.
There's one to DPW, there's one to fire, you know, every sewer collects their own fees.
Right, and I know that impact fees recently got reevaluated, like, did the impact fees for commercial and residential get reevaluated at the same time?
Yeah, they usually look
Or are
at
they the
impact, no, they usually look at impact fees that is done by by the planning board, and they're the one that set the impact fees.
Okay.
And the other thing to think about too is, the focus on getting sewer and gas, I think is fantastic. But the other piece we have to think about is if we try to attract a new business here and they get here and they find out they have to spend so much more money to come here than they do in Ware or whatever. We have turned away a lot of businesses with our current fees. Sometimes even a hookup fee for sewer that already exists can turn them away. So it's really that balance that we have to find. This, though, was really focused on that first floor retail, basically requirement that they're looking at. So that's what this letter was about. I don't know if you
And
guys.
I like this letter, sorry, I didn't mean to
That's
distract.
okay. But if anyone else that read it think that there should be changes to it, it's really simple.
Sewer plant's good.
Yeah, I gave you my opinion earlier, so.
You did, thank you. So this, if we vote on this, that we want this as is to be submitted, you're there tomorrow night
Yes.
to submit it? Okay, so we have someone that can submit it. Any discussion further on this letter in particular?
Do you want, I mean, if we're all gonna vote to approve it, do we wanna put something in here, like, I am writing this letter as the chair of the Economic Development Council in Goffstown with the with the support of the Economic with the
Yeah, I
support
mean-
of the members of the Economic Development Council?
Yeah, we can make that edit.
Assuming we're gonna vote and everyone's gonna support it, because I guess we can't see the future on that, so.
Yeah.
We could all, everyone could decide they need it.
No, it makes sense. I mean, I think they know that if it's being submitted, it was voted on, but I do think that just in case, we can add that line. I think that makes sense.
I think the letter's gonna, my changes on the letters would be, you'd list everybody, not just the Economic Development Council. You'd wanna list,
You mean everybody
Yeah.
that is on it and their position on it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, like almost like the
this
roll
is
call.
endorsed by the select board. Yeah. Right now, it's just CC'd.
Oh, you don't mean the actual people here right now. You mean the select
Oh,
board
that's what
endorses?
I thought.
I don't know that the select board endorses it. I know
Well,
that,
it's gonna come before us, but when the letter,
wait, rewind. This goes tomorrow night. This workshop is tomorrow night. We're hoping
Yeah,
to submit
but-
this.
they're gonna approve it, it's still gonna, you got our name on it, do you want us to approve, the select board to? Do you want the ZBA on board, is it more,
And I don't,
No, that's who it's
I
going
didn't
to, but
see
I'm
it.
seeing that, like if this says it's respectfully Chet, Chair, Economic Development Council, members, all of us.
Peter, I think that what it was meant just to, for specific
just
people
from
that
this
working.
council, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the working session, to let them know, hey, this is a big
But
impact for us.
Does it get more guts if you've got everybody signing on board?
Yeah, but it's irrelevant if we can't submit it tomorrow.
Well, you really just want to start with this group, that you take a vote tonight, that you could say, under a unanimous vote, the entire Economic Development Committee has voted to support,
Just to submit this letter.
to submit this letter.
Right.
And then the selectmen would get all of those, the meeting notes of that work sessions, knowing that, hey, we're endorsing that, right?
I
Yeah.
would hope so, I don't know,
Yeah.
we'll see what Derek wants to do.
Yeah. So, to be clear, we're gonna, respectfully, I can put myself here and then just add all of us, right? Unanimous vote to submit letter.
Or the word of the board, speak for the board. I
I'll
don't-
make the motion to accept this letter with those changes, or the additions, I should say,
Okay,
of all of the positions being listed of the council that is here.
perfect.
I'll second.
Okay, second. A motion and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Just
Okay,
one
any
question
opposed?
on the date, is that the correct date?
It sure isn't.
That's 10
That's
days.
my
No.
birthday, it's not on there.
Sure isn't.
It caught my eye. Alright.
All
So
right,
let's also fix the date.
I just assumed you had the right.
We'll also
date.
fix the
Come
date.
on.
Yeah, not a single typo, not a single
Beautiful.
spelling mistake, but then there's that.
See?
There
Yeah.
it is.
All right, well, we're all in
so,
favor, it's
You
fine.
know what they say about us, so.
You'll submit this to Patty.
yes, I will add everyone's name and submit this to Patty. Okay.
Thank you.
And I think the next agenda is really just to focus on the goals and maybe a review of this. I think that makes sense. Anything else from anyone?
What are the brownfield sites?
Brownfield sites.
Not to jump on your business, but you have that on here.
I
It's number
apologize, I
3.
completely skipped that. Sylvia, the brownfield sites, that was, I
Well-
think, on last month's too.
I heard from Cam that he actually came and presented
did.
to this group,
Mhm.
so I just didn't want it to, I just still thought there's still money in the brownfields program,
Mhm.
and that actually could be a goal to, you know,
Has the state recognized any properties in Goffstown? I know they have a list of brownfields that would come under that brownfield.
I would imagine. I mean, anything,
Is there
any,
something we can
it's
find? Is that
very
something-
broad, even the perception that it's like there are issues with a site, just the perception.
What is brownfield?
It's a property, that's a good question. So brownfields is, it's several things. One, it's a program that we, Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission, is working with a consultant team to identify properties that aren't up to their potential. And maybe it's a vacant site. Often people think of it as like an abandoned gasoline station or something like that. But it could be, and we worked years ago with properties right behind here along the, right along the, is it not the railroad track?
What was the old dump?
Yeah, it was right along the river. I
Depot
think.
Street.
Yeah, maybe that.
Remember, I don't know if you all know, there used to be the dump, the actual dump used to be at the end of Depot Street. And that's where we used, do you remember that?
I do remember that there was a dump there,
So it's.
but that was, yeah, early on
That
when
was
I
in the
got here.
sixties, yeah.
So part of the
Yeah.
program is to identify any potential issues, like they do, they drill, they do site inspections, it's a process. But, so Cam Perlman, also in my office, came, I believe, with the consultant and talked to this group. He said within the last 6 months, so.
That's true,
Yeah.
yeah. I think we struggled to figure out exactly where they could go for us, but to Peter's question, I think if we could figure out if there's identified sites, that would be helpful.
It could be,
Is there like a time limit on how long it has to be vacant or
Well,
abandoned for?
I think it's till the
We're-
money runs
no.
out. Till the money runs out, right?
Well, that was a different question. We have money till next September, I believe. That's when our program ends. Not sure if they can get an extension on that, but we do have funds. So what type of site?
Like, is Rite Aid considered an abandoned site?
I-
Because there's nothing in there right now, right?
I don't think that has a perception that there's something, a problem with that site.
Okay.
And it's a site that, it's like, I'm not gonna touch it. That's the kind
yeah,
of thing.
the perception
There's
that
the
there is something
perception
wrong or it's
There's
contaminated.
something
or-
wrong.
Yeah.
There's soil issues.
That's why it's
Oh,
brown.
okay.
That's why it's a brownfield.
So the
Well, yeah,
ben-
I guess what's
the
the-
benefit of the brownfields is they're gonna, instead of having whatever business owner come in and have to fork up the money to figure out whether that site's okay to work on or not, they do that for you. That's the benefit of it. So, but I remember we didn't know if there was, I think you had mentioned something on Daniel Plummer maybe, but we weren't sure. So I think if we can get a list of that, I'll
That could be
ask
a- that could be a
Patty
goal.
if she can find that. That could be a
Identifying
goal,
them-
yeah.
Identifying any potential brownfield sites.
Yep, yep, so that's good. Okay, anything else? Motion,
Motion to adjourn?
okay. Second? All right, motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Motion to eat.
Adjourned.
Happy
Thank you very
Thanksgiving.
much.
Have a good Thanksgiving.